Hi people, Night Voice back again. I see the Australian government or the opposition has managed to block this carbon tax agreement that they were trying to, that the government was trying to put in place. So it looks like some of our pollies have got a half a brain. Let's just hope that they can block it entirely, because if we lock into this global warming thing that they're trying to sort out in Copenhagen, it's just going to put huge taxes on the whole lot of us. Not only companies are going to have to pay this carbon tax, but it's going to filter back through the line just like everything does. And we're just going to pay more for fuel, for energy, for food, for everything. So I think it's a good decision by the opposition to block it, or for now anyway. And I see there's sort of a bit of a ruffle about maybe an early election. So I think these guys, by blocking it, would probably get a few extra votes if there's a federal election, and maybe they might get into power. Could be a good thing, you never know. But what I mentioned in a previous video about there being going to be a world food shortage in the coming years, I think like I said, these blokes seem to have, the opposition seem to have a few brains, or a few, obviously the majority of the opposition who voted this to put a hold on this carbon tax have got a bit of a brain. So maybe if those guys start thinking about one of my previous videos, if they've watched it, or they hear about it, or they listen to this one, or watch this one, about greening Australia and growing food. So you know, let's put our money into this, into canals and or canal system going right across Australia, and let's start growing food, because that's where everybody's going to be looking for, and not genetically modified foods, natural food, no chemicals. Well, get away from as many chemicals as we can. As I've mentioned that before about all the chemicals and everything. But yeah, there's ways and means around it. We've got the best scientists in the world here in Australia, so let's start using them. Let's you know, I've mentioned about manufacturing. I've mentioned about just stuff that goes on all over the place. As far as this carbon tax, it's just going to put a huge burden on the Western world. All our manufacturing's gone overseas now. There's hardly any anybody manufacturing anything here. It's all gone overseas to cheap labour countries, and so that's what would happen even more so if this carbon tax come in. We'd be doing nothing here. Our miners, they're going to be charged a fortune, carbon tax, for all the emissions they put into the thing. Our coal-powered fire stations, they're going to power stations, they're going to be hit with huge amounts of tax. So obviously that's going to put our energy charges up. So there again, you know, at the end of the day, us poor people in the street pay. Doesn't matter what happens. What happens in the government? I mean, you look at the WA government. I just seen today in the paper their budget is blowing out. They got a deficit of 700 odd million or something. No, I'm not quite sure if it's billion or million. Oh, yeah, just about $1 billion, $800 million or something. Just overspending. You know, spending on crap, setting up all these bloody new bodies to investigate this, to investigate that, to investigate everything else. A load of bloody crap. All they're doing is giving jobs and dishing out money to all their mates. You know, everybody else has had to pull their heads in, rein in, try and save a quid where you can. And this WA government's bloody spending money like it's going out of fashion. Spending money they haven't got. You know, fair enough, we've had a bit of a hiccup with some of these companies as far as less royalties are concerned and all that sort of stuff, but you know, you hear in the news that China's going full bolt, flat strap. Now why do you think, just the other day I think they mentioned something about coal. They bought into a couple of coal mines here in Australia, and I think the richest man in Australia, whatever his name is, he's talking about that's where the money is, in China. Right, read between the lines. They're trying to bring this carbon tax in. That means that they're going to screw all these coal-fired power stations, which we have in Australia. But the Chinese and some of the third world countries are going to be basically exempt from this carbon tax. I mean, it's been mentioned, if you read the paper or read on the internet, that China is sort of thinking, oh yeah, well we'll try and rein in our carbon emissions. Why are they buying coal? Why are they buying coal mines? They're buying coal mines because most of their power stations are coal operated. So they're going to go at 100 mile an hour. They're just going to pump the shit out of it, because they know they're not going to have to pay any carbon tax, like us silly bastards. So anything you read or you hear or anything, you just got to read between the lines and think, you know, I read this the other day, or I read that today, you know what's going on. Alright, just open up. Everybody open your eyes and just see what's going on. And you know, I mention this just about in every video I put out about opening your eyes. Open up and listen and look and see what's going on. My boys, catch you.